Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss the air quality index. So in our last video we saw a large chart where we were able to observe how many different cities across the US have a variety of number of unhealthy days per year. And so cities like LA and Sacramento had a very, very high amount of unhealthy days, whereas cities like Chicago and Boston and even Seattle have very few days that are unhealthy in the entire year. So what happened is we have this agency called the Environmental Protection Agency. So the Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA, which is probably what I will call them for the rest of the semester. But we have this agency that their entire objective is to make sure that the environment is actually okay, that we're not hurting our environment, we're not making it any worse, but we're also making sure that the humans or the residents that live in each of these cities are fully aware of what they are exposing themselves to on a daily basis. And so what this group did is this Environmental Protection Agency, they came together and they came up with this thing called the Air Quality Index. And so what it is a way to color code and very easily transfer information to non-scientists to let them know, hey, it is not a good day to be outside and doing X, Y, and Z. It's not a good day to do lawn work. It is a very good day to be inside and do the dishes and be inside. And so to kind of explain this, I figured it would just be easiest to show you the chart. And so on this left side over here, this is your AQI, which is your air quality index. And so it's assigned essentially a number. So anything that's 0 to 50 is considered good. If you're given this label of 0 to 50, it is good. The color is green, it is considered healthy. And so the larger the number gets, the more unhealthy or the worse it is for you. So down here at 301 to 500, it is considered actually hazardous. So if you go outside and breathe that air, it is going to be very, very, very bad for your system. And so this is given a deep red or otherwise a maroon color. And so as logic would assume, you start off as green is okay, yellow is moderate, and then as it gets more and more red, you know it is worse for your body to be exposed to that. And so this is the actual key, or this is the index of how you would interpret this. But in real life, how you would apply this is you would go to your local paper, or probably more online now these days, and essentially you see this giant chart. So it'd be something like this. There's typically a table over here on the far side that's going to give you a list of your pollutants. So for this example, we're just going to use three main pollutants. So we'll have carbon monoxide, we'll also look at some ozone, and then let's look at some particulate matter, let's just say PM10. And so what you would see is up across the top is it would mark it as yesterday, it would then say today, and then it would also say tomorrow. And so inside each one of these squares, it would give you a color. So for carbon monoxide, typically it's green across the board. It's not too bad. We typically have a good hold of carbon monoxide now. We are more aware of where it comes from and where we're exposed to it, so it's typically green from day to day. However, ozone can completely vary, and so maybe it is yellow on this day, maybe it's green over here, and then maybe tomorrow they're predicting red, so it would be really bad. So what you would do if you have any health concerns at all is you would look at this chart and say, oh my goodness, tomorrow is red, like that's really bad. Maybe you're battling lung cancer, maybe you have pneumonia at the time, but you would be aware of these conditions and you would then use that to decide how you would proceed for the next day, the next week, however it is, or how long this chart would go. And so a lot of times the particulate matter is one of the really important ones. And so things that are in, especially when we had the wildfire in Bastrop, the particulate matter was constantly being reported here because we needed to be very much aware of how much of the ash was in the air. If we go outside, are we going to hurt our lungs? Is our lungs going to start filling up with those tiny solid particles? What's going to happen? And so when we are during the wildfires, a lot of times it's orange, and then it goes from red, and then maybe it will turn to yellow, and you can slowly monitor by looking at the AQI and see what is happening with our air, and you can get a day-to-day update on what's going on. And so this is a very, very neat chart, and I would try to encourage you to maybe start being aware of it. So when you check your news on a daily basis, which you probably don't do, but hopefully you start doing that. But when you check your news on a daily basis, start looking for the AQI. See what your city says. Hopefully it's all green from where you're at, but maybe for our students out in Houston, maybe you're seeing a little bit more of the yellow and orange. It just really depends on where you're located. But start keeping an eye on it and figure out how that's actually related to what we're talking about for the rest of the semester. Now, before we end here, I want to check with a quick question. Make sure again we're all on the same page. And so here we go. According to the AQI index, well, AQI is index, the colors orange, red, purple, and maroon indicate blank air quality. Now this question is actually easier than it sounds. I'm just looking for one word to indicate whether or not this is a good day to go outside or a bad day to go outside. So go up here to try to look for a word from here that we're looking for, okay? All right, so good luck, take care of yourself, and look for that AQI.